In the days when the land was still young and the mountains had not yet found their final shape, the waters of Phetchabun were ruled by the Naga, mighty serpent spirits who guarded the rivers, streams, and caves. They were ancient beings, older than kings and temples, and they held the power to bless the land with rain or curse it with drought. Among all the serpent lords of the region, one was remembered above all, Phaya Kamnuan, the serpent of the Khek River. His scales were said to glisten like polished stone, dark and heavy, each scale as large as a farmer's hand. His eyes burned with an ember light that could be seen even beneath the water, and when he moved, the river itself seemed to shift as though obeying his will. The people of Khek Noi lived in respect of him. They did not fish without prayer, and they did not cut bamboo near his banks without offering incense and rice wine. Mothers taught their children to bow their heads before the river, for they knew the Naga was watching. For generations, peace held. But peace never lasts. One season, outsiders came to the valley, hunters from beyond the mountains. They were greedy men, careless of custom, carrying iron traps and firebrands. They killed more fish than they could eat, and they poisoned the waters with blood. The villagers warned them, "Do not dishonor the river. The Serpent King watches." But the hunters only laughed. That very night, the river rose higher than it had in living memory. Out of the boiling water came Phaya Kamnuan. His body was longer than 10 boats tied end to end, and his roar shook the trees so that birds fell dead from the branches. He struck down the hunters, and the river carried their bodies away, leaving not a trace. To the villagers he spoke in a voice like thunder. "I am keeper of these waters. You have remembered me, and I have spared you. But if ever my river is dishonored again, I will not strike as flesh, I will strike as stone, and the land shall suffer silence forevermore." For many years afterward, no one dared test him. Offerings were plentiful, and the river remained rich with fish. But time is a slow thief. Children grew into adults, adults into elders, and with each generation the warning softened. The story became only a story, and reverence turned into forgetfulness. At last came the year of the great fire. A band of men, thinking only of profit, set flames to the forest by the riverbank to drive out game. The fire spread wild and hungry, licking at the bamboo groves. Ashes fell like black rain into the river. Smoke choked the air. The people gathered at the banks, weeping and praying. And then from the depths he rose again. Phaya Kamnuan coiled his vast body upon the shore, scales wet and shining, eyes blazing with grief. He looked upon the burning trees, the dead fish floating on the water, the trembling villagers. "I gave you warning," he said, his voice rolling like thunder across the valley. "Once I was flesh, now I shall be stone, and forever I will remain, that none may forget." He curled his body tightly, pressing against the bank. His breath grew slow, his eyes dimmed, and before the villagers' eyes his scales hardened, his body stiffened. Stone crept across him like ice until at last there was no serpent, only a vast rock formation lying beside the river, scales of stone forever pressed into the earth. From then on, the river flowed differently. Some said the fish grew harder to catch. Others swore the rains came late, as if the land itself mourned the serpent's silence. But when the floods came in the rainy season, villagers swore they could still hear a hiss in the waters, a low rumble as though the serpent stirred beneath his rocky tomb. Fishermen, drifting too near the stone serpent, told of their boats lurching suddenly as though something vast had brushed against them from below. Children playing by the banks sometimes claimed to see glowing eyes deep under the current, vanishing as quickly as they appeared. So the villagers learned fear once more. They brought offerings again, jasmine garlands, candles, carved wooden boats set afloat with rice and incense. They prayed not only for blessings but for forgiveness. They named the stone formation Hin Nga Yai, the giant snake rock. And even today, those who pass along the Khek River bow their heads, whispering prayers under their breath. For though Phaya Kamnuan's body has turned to stone, his spirit is said to still move within the currents, waiting for the day when people might forget him once more. And when that day comes, the elders say, the serpent will not return as stone. He will return in full, to rise from the river and reclaim what was his.